Greetings, fellow sufferers of bird blindness. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And yeah, we're just here to have a little support group about our rare but terribly crippling affliction, Dragon. How do you feel about having bird blindness?
I can never tell the accurate size of any bird.
It's more debilitating than you would think.
Is it a dove? Is it a pigeon? I'll never know.
all right. I love how
Which one talks again?
We just went over the whole, like, what should we do as a greeting? Oh, 11th Street Kids. And then I came up on the spot. Bird blindness. I think what I'll do with the greetings is I'll just kind of make a joke based on the episode going forward. Anyways, we're here to talk about Peacemaker, Season 2, Episode 2. Speaking of bird blindness, a man is only as good as his bird. Dragon, could you imagine being like a proud bird owner, but you have bird blindness?
I don't know if that's possible.
Anyways. All right, so what do you think of the episode, my friend?
I thought it was good. Maybe not as kind of earth-shattering as episode 1, but it was, we're on good track. Eagley had the standout moment of the episode, without question.
Oh, yeah.
But overall, this is good. This is kind of the cool down before things really ramp up. It feels like this is the connecting episode between 1 and 3. It feels like.
I mean, I think Eagley definitely had the standout moment, but for me, I think kind of the person that stole the show is Tim Meadows, and I think this really his episode in a lot of ways, which we'll get into.
Yeah. I love me some Tim Meadows, and I was so happy. I knew he was going to be in this season, but I kind of forgot about it after a while because I remember he was like in one of the trailers or something. It's like, oh, not only are we getting Tim Meadows, we're really getting Tim Meadows. It's not going to be like when Tim Meadows shows up in Star Wars. He's actually going to do stuff here.
I forget, what did he do in Star Wars?
Well, that's the thing. I gotta be honest. I forgot he had such a small part, and it was kind of a wasted part. I forget if he showed up in Ahsoka or not. He showed up in something.
Oh,
it was something recently, and I mean, there's no way it was Andor, right? I'm not crazy. It wasn't an Andor.
Oh God, I'm still
because a part of me, my instinct was to say Andor, but I really think he tonally would not fit that show, so I really don't think it was Andor. I think it was it was something. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it was Mando season 3. That's the thing. He was in something.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I remember. I think I remember. He was in Skeleton. I think he was in Skeleton Crew.
That sounds right.
I think that's what I'm thinking. Right? I think that's it.
All right. But yes, I mean, we're getting a very, very good use of him here. But we'll kind of double back around to him. So, let's start with our cold open. Dragon, I think it's really, really cool. I think it was very smart of James Gunn to essentially start the DC universe, or at least this version of the DC universe, with creature commandos, only to loop back around to have Rick Flag Sr. I wouldn't call him a full-fledged villain this season, but he's definitely an antagonist, and it's very interesting, the storytelling choices that they're making with him. And this cold open definitely got the ball rolling on that. I'm very much looking forward to the inevitable moment where him and Peacemaker come face to face.
Yeah, one of my favorite elements of James Gunn's DCU has been Rick Flag and how we've been using him. And it does make sense that the central thing that we're really basing everything with the DCU around is James Gunn's Suicide Squad, which is for his first foray into DC, period. Mm-hmm. And very much this is like everything's like an echo or a consequence. That Peacemaker's, again, direct continuation of the Suicide Squad. And of course, this is like the aftermath of that. So very much we're kind of, as you saw in the first episode, we've been kind of reshooting a few bits here and there just to kind of make everything a little more
retcon.
Yep, Supergirl was there, put in silhouette, right. That kind of stuff. So, we've been very clever. I really love that move, by the way. I love this. So what we've been doing there and everything. So we've been basically saying what you see going forward is what counts. Anything we need to reshoot, simply we'll reshoot it. And that's just, it's a smart way of doing it. And with that, everything's pretty much built on Suicide Squad. Now, I will say, with all the talk and the plans and everything with the DC Universe, ambitious as it may sound, but very promising. it is interesting that the majority of the stuff that we're getting, with the exception of Superman so far, I know we have Supergirl next year, but by that same token, though, a lot of our stuff has been very much in James Gunn's wheelhouse of R-rated and very much kind of bridging off of the Suicide Squad. Now, I'm not saying that's any indication that he's not going to do more like kind of what we had with Superman onward, and everything going forward. But I'm just
Yeah,
saying
and I
that
mean, keep in mind, he also did the Guardians trilogy, which is, awesome, but very PG-13.
Of course, I'm just
It's
saying
not like
that
he can't do PG-13
no,
stuff.
no, you're right. All I'm saying is that in contrast, it was Marvel stuff obviously had to be very, had to be kind of more for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And DC, we know for a fact he can do something for everybody. And Superman kind of, I think, helps prove that. But I think his track record so far, DC, there's a lot more R-rated than there is non-R-rated. And I have all the look. I have faith in. We know he can do it. I'm just saying, I'm worried the consensus might kind of like, man, is this DC or is this going to be really dark? Is this going to be R-rated bombs and
Well, I've
everything?
heard a lot of comments about like, could you imagine people watching Superman, and then they're like, "Oh, that Peacemaker guy who had a cameo, he's got a show. Let's watch the show with the kids. Fucking orgy in episode
That
one."
has been everyone's complaint about the origin. The fact that, well, he popped up in that Superman movie, and kids are going to want to see John Cena with a toilet bowl on his head, and they're going to
What
get
kid
filth.
does not want to see that? Seriously, I genuinely feel bad for kids who are kind of growing up in this era where it's like, no, you can't see the fucking John Cena superhero show, even though John Cena, by and large, is a very his career for the most part has been pretty family oriented
Yeah,
outside of Peacemaker.
yeah, and his role in Trainwreck. But aside from that, okay, so so Rick Flake's here. I love this cold open. He's been promoted to the so essentially a little time has passed since Creature Commandos. I guess the logic here, and we'll find out in that Amanda Waller show. They're taking their time with it, so it's been pushed a little bit, but not because they're actively shooting and like working on the script and everything, which James Gunn's been very fervent about.
I'm
We're not going to do
hesitant
this.
if we even need that, but we'll see. I trust James Gunn if James Gunn thinks it's necessary.
I mean, look, just given how heavy we've been leaning with the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker and Creature Commandos, all very Waller centric, I think it would stand the reason that we behind the scenes maybe. Plus, Waller's like the monster, and she's a monster in a different sense of the word, so it would fit the theme of what he's going for in book one. I don't know. Waller seems like she might be important, especially if Waller traditionally, well, going by JLU, Waller has a redemption. That'll be interesting to see. Like, can you redeem an irredeemable monster like Amanda Waller in some capacity, especially if she's a lead of a James Gunn show, like we do with Peacemaker? So it does beg an interesting question. Regardless, it would seem that the time that has passed since Creature Commandos to now, like she was in the hot seat over the Suicide Squad. It seems like officially. I don't know if she's still running the Creature Commandos or not by this point. We won't really know until season 2 of that. But it would seem that Rick Flag's officially been kind of promoted to her job of like running Argus. So that's but it seems like he only took the job purely for one singular reason, which I love. He only took it so he could find out the exact specifics of what happened around Rick Flag Jr.'s death.
Sure, sure.
So I love that he's getting the tour of the place by John Economos, who's kind of failing miserably at trying to befriend him a little bit.
A-dubs.
Yep. And I love that. I love that Economos again. Steve Agee is like one of James. Apparently, he's one of James Gunn's closest friends. Like, two of them go way back. They're really good buddies. And as he puts all of his friends in these movies, and you feel the trust in the performance really comes out. And Tiki, have you watched any of James Gunn's podcasts lately?
No, but I have a story in regards to the podcast that we'll get to when we talk. I mean, obviously, I'm sure you guys talked about the intro, the opening song in the last podcast, but I have some thoughts on it, and I also have a story that kind of ties back to the song choice they used.
Well, anywho, just the point being, Agee's pretty much been like his right hand guy on the podcast, and you get a sense of this kind of, I don't know, there's like something very natural there, and I love the subtleties. I really appreciated the subtleties of John Economos, like on the rewatch of season 1 and here, and just seeing that he does feel bad for Rick Flag Sr., but he is in a position where he wants to stay on his good side. He knows that he might be a more civil version of Waller, but of course Peacemaker is the big hanging, is the hanging Chad in the room, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, so we have this wonderfully heartbreaking scene where he reads the file, and we basically establish he is fully in the know. He knows about the Waller commissioning it. He knows that exactly where. I love that he even has the last words because again, they were listening in the whole time, so they would have the last words. The whole Peacemaker, what a joke! We have it all in there, wonderfully
I love how
recast.
I love how Peacemaker, what a joke. That basically can act as like a thesis
Yes,
statement for the entire show, which I think is really cool.
we saw that it haunts Peacemaker in that first season. The whole Peacemaker, what a joke! He's crying on the bed. It's haunted. It's stuck with him. That is that.
Right, right, right.
That is the genesis of the show. You're right. It's and again, honestly, that's the. Tiki, we kind of should talk about this briefly. Is that again thematically that's kind of what season 2 is. We've evolved Peacemaker. He's not as much the joke as he was in season 1. We're not really going ha ha with Peacemaker. I mean, don't get me wrong, the comedy is still there, but it's more so around him than it is like we have a lot more pathos and vulnerability with
Weirdly,
Peacemaker,
he's
which
kind of like the straight man this season in a
yeah,
lot of ways.
which is an aspired choice. I mean, I love going deep on I love like diving into the pathos of Peacemaker after everything he went through in the first season. Because remember, he went through some recent traumas last season, so would cause some introspection. That was his conflict in season 1. He was trying not to be introspective because if he gets introspective, he doesn't want to kill people, which is the antithesis to who he is. But he wants to be a hero. Kind of per the I've been using this analogy. It's kind of like the whole. I guess to the layman, it's basically what we did in the Deadpool movies. But I mean, it's in the comics. It's kind of like what Joe Kelly did with Deadpool, where that was the first time Deadpool wanted to go from being a mercenary to being a superhero, and that's kind of what that. Anyway, which we saw heartbreakingly with the Justice Gang audition. Anyway, yeah. So again, Frank Grillo, he's my guy in the DCU. I love the actor, and I love this Rick Flag casting. It's the way he just plays that heartbreaking scene. He is so darn good, and he's directing all his attention, all his newfound power to Peacemaker, looking for an excuse, much like Lex Luthor and Superman. That Superman movie, he's looking for an excuse, which in this case is our connective tissue between this and Superman, the QUC, the Quantum Unfolding Chamber, which happens to be in a closet in Peacemaker's house.
Yeah, which I got to admit, I straight up forgot about this from season 1, and I think it's a really clever choice that they.
The moment Superman happened, I knew, oh god, we set this up in Peacemaker. This is awesome.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Well, why don't you talk about the opening, T? Because
for sure. I mean, I feel like it's a pretty universal experience for people where it's like when the song first starts, you're really thrown off. Like, wait a minute. this is different.
Yeah.
But then by the time we get to the big group shot at the end, you're just like, oh, this is fucking awesome. This might even be better than the season 1 song. But what I wanted to say though is I have a friend of mine who he did listen to James Gunn's podcast, and on James Gunn's podcast, apparently James Gunn likes to talk about music, which is very appropriate for James Gunn.
There's a music segment on the podcast.
Oh, okay, nice. And James Gunn mentioned Foxy's Shazam, which is the band that does this song. And my friend, he looked the band up, and he got really hooked on the song that they use in this opening sequence. But the thing was, it was kind of a little bit of a deep cut. Like on Spotify, it was probably like the number 30 most played out of this band, which, not exactly the most Billboard chart topping band ever. It's kind of an obscure band anyway. So it's a little bit of a deep cut by a band that's a little on the obscure side. So you can, but my friend got really attached to this song. He's like, oh, this is like the song from this band. So you can imagine my friend's delight when they use this song as the intro. I mean, I just thought that was really cool. Also, I want to point out, Dragon, John Campia pointed this out, and now I can't unsee it.
You mean Mandark's son?
What?
You mean Mandark's son?
Have we established that?
No, we haven't. I was just throwing it out there for us.
Frank Grillo in the big establishing shot at the end of the title sequence. Dragon, he is trying so hard not to crack a smile, and he is failing at it.
Yeah.
Like, it's so adorable. Especially considering, obviously, Rick Flag Sr. is going to be, an antagonist this season, so to see the actor having so much fun with it is just, I don't know, it's very endearing.
That was the thing Grillo struggled with the most, by the way, that opening dance scene.
Oh, I could totally.
You'll notice he and Rook are the worst dancers
By the way, I'm stoked to get Michael Rooker. You know what his role is going to be, right?
I know what his role is going to be.
And after this episode, it's like, okay, we have reason for that. Okay, oh boy.
Last week, Rohit and I were talking about, apparently, I completely forgot about it until he reminded me that there was a recast. And much like in the first season, Vigilante was a recast. Like they had another guy in the suit, and they basically reshot everything, but they had to actually cast around like the build of the suits, which made it tougher. But they really lucked out on that one. But they had a similar situation this season with the Eagle Hunter. They, presumably the Eagle Hunter, and because I remember they actually had this picture circulating during the production. It was a guy with a very different build, presumably as the Eagle Hunter. And again, we won't really know until we see it, but that guy was, let's just say, in far more jack shape than Michael Rooker. So it suggests that we have recast him with Michael Rooker. So it's interesting.
Of course, with it being Michael Rooker, odds are he's not going to survive the season.
I don't know, but you're right. Yeah. Okay. So, I guess getting into the episode. So after the awesome end of last episode, Peacemaker is logically traumatized. James Gunn during like the little after show thing, which they don't do every episode, only for the premiere.
I wish they did do it every episode.
Me too.
I found that very valuable.
To be fair, they have like a whole podcast for that, which is essentially it's the.
I should look into that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm still on season 1, going through them all.
Because the fucking Last of Us of all shows, and you know how bad Last of Us season 2 turned out to be. They did the whole behind the scenes thing at the end of every episode for that season.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Anyway, so they have like a whole after show essentially with the podcast. Regardless, James Gunn made the excellent point that Peacemaker has, I completely forgot about this, that Peacemaker has essentially killed each member of his own family, including himself. He killed his brother, he killed his father, and now he's killed an alternate universe version of himself, which is enough. This poor guy just cannot catch a break. He just keeps killing the whole
making like a Shakespeare play or something.
Oh yeah, so within the comedy, the natural comedy here, this is such a relatable, almost Curb Your Enthusiasm-esque joke. It's like the Tarantino version.
Can you imagine if Larry David got into this situation?
It's like the Tarantino version of Curb Your Enthusiasm. It's like he's. Just imagine playing like the Mikado while
I can see Larry David getting into a situation where like a prostitute ODs or something, and he has to hide the body.
Pretty much. Okay, so I love Peacemaker hiding the body. Just the comedy of every time he hides, it just keeps falling out the tarp. And he gets so
realistic
frustrated,
man.
I get so relatably frustrated. He's like throwing it. He's just so angry. All right, so he calls Vigilante to help dismember and incinerate the body. By the way, very impressive prop because James Gunn likes to do practical as much as he can. There is for example, there's CG all over the first season of Peacemaker, not only because of the butterflies, because every time the helmet's in frame, they have to CG out the reflection. So there's always CG around.
I didn't even you see, that's the kind of CGI for me that's legitimately more impressive than something like, I don't know, off the top of my head, like Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Let's just throw up CGI landscapes all over the fucking screen.
This is what
the CGI you don't notice, I think, is the most impressive CGI. Like the two Michael B. Jordans and Sinners, for example.
Sure. And again, a little cross promotion here. They get into all this kind of stuff on that James Gunn podcast. You got to watch it, man.
I should.
Anyway, so very impressive prop of the dead, of the dead Peacemaker, which you sure had to kind of put the fear of God into John Cena just a little bit, just seeing his own dead body.
Do you know if anyone on the crew actually owns that prop?
That's the thing. I imagine James Gunn or somebody. Well, again, it's probably on that. I haven't gotten to that episode yet. They probably tell you what happened to the head. I don't know. But I'd imagine somebody kept that head.
Right.
One of those heads. Okay, so meanwhile, now I got to admit, here's the weak sauce of the season for me. I'm a little. I mean, look, I'll give the benefit of the doubt, but the whole Adebayo and her wife.
I kind of feel like it was just like an obligatory check-in. I don't really think we're going to dwell on this much.
I don't know. It feels like we're gonna. You gotta remember the
And to
first
be
season.
fair, this was honestly like a subplot in season 1 where it's like it's not that I like actively disliked it, but it was definitely like okay, it's kind of like going through the motions, standard relationship drama.
Yeah, it was. We got to learn a little bit about Bio because the whole first season's centered around her and Peacemaker becoming friends. So we got to give her a little bit of spending so much time with Peacemaker's family. We should see what her family is like, especially with
There's
the wall.
actually a subplot in Yellow Jackets that's remarkably similar to this.
Okay.
Anyways.
But yeah, so this to me was not the strongest. It's again, it's the lesser of the plot lines.
Like I said, I think I give it a pass just because it's like I doubt we're going to be seeing much of the girlfriend going forward. I kind of feel like this scene is just kind of like a necessary hand wave.
Well, ex-wife in this case.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing. Honestly, it bothers me because we had that fantastic end of the first season where we check in with everybody and we see like, hey, she and the wife seem to be in a good place, and then I guess not, all because she says I don't want to go back to Gotham. It's, apparently, that ended the relationship.
That does legitimately bother me. Like this person is like the most gung ho person ever in any DC universe to go to fucking Gotham.
Yeah.
But Kermit, I don't want to go back to Gotham.
So Tiki said, "We should recap Gotham all over again."
Don't tempt me.
Anyway,
I still need to watch most of the Super Academy movie, but I did really appreciate a Gotham reference that happened towards the beginning of that.
Do you mean Superhero Rewind movie?
Yeah, Superhero Rewind. Yes.
Right. Oh yeah, I honestly think that real quick, then we'll move on from the wife thing. It's just the whole thing of like you should have texted me you were coming over. Well, I mean, I thought you were working. Like, well, again, if you really made it clear that it's like a full on breakup, I mean, why couldn't she? Her dogs are there,
right?
And you just took the dogs. Anyway,
honestly, I mean. The Gamora stuff in Guardians of the Galaxy, it was fine. It was serviceable. It was good. But that stuff was never, like, the most compelling part of Guardians of the Galaxy. Like, honestly, I think Superman is, like, the first James Gunn thing where it's, like, he really excelled at the relationship stuff.
Right. So out of Bio, she tips Peacemaker off that he's being monitored, which is kind of what she learned. Economist, basically, he didn't want to, give away. He was kind of like trying to help Peacemaker, so he kind of sent out a Bio to do it. While Economist is basically monitoring him as they do it. It's basically she suggests, look, just turn the QUC over to Rick Flag and Argus so they don't send you back to prison. Which again, it's a good plan. But we also make the very important plot point that every time he uses it, it creates a ping, as in they know when he uses it. And I love we have Peacemaker have that moment of realization. Oh man, they're gonna know him use it. F it. So Vigilante, he shows up. He is upset. Always the chipper, bloodthirsty maniac.
Okay, can I just say, like, yes, Vigilante is a bloodthirsty maniac, but I think this scene kind of confirms we're getting some asexual representation with Vigilante, and I'm here for it.
I mean, now, to be fair, look, you're right. Overall, he's pretty much asexual. So let me put it this way: it's not about the sex itself. Like, we've seen he's had sex with.
But that's the thing with asexual people, Dragon. I've had sex, but it's like I still identify as asexual. It's not about like the inability to have sex; it's the indifference. That's what defines asexuality for me.
I get that, but I'm saying that's more like a past tense to now sort of thing. But you're right, though. I guess what I mean with Vigilante is that it seems that we kind of make a point of it here, is that he really likes he wants to use the sex as just an excuse to hang out with his friend. That's the bigger asexual takeaway from the thing, where he's upset that he was left out of the orgy, not because he wanted to get in on it, but more so it's like, it should be alongside you when you're doing this kind of stuff, like we did with that one girl in the first season.
right, yeah.
Then of course he's just the fun runner of like, he's like, you never sound mad when you have these arguments, like. Anyway, I did agree with the very Curb Your Enthusiasm-esque point about like the time at which she used the bathroom in winter. There's no time she would have washed her hands. I gotta admit that would have been, that probably would have been me in that situation. Like, yeah, I would have.
I mean, that whole house is probably just swimming in filthy germs.
That absolutely. Oh yeah.
Like somebody had to have gotten pink eye after that night.
It would look like a Jackson Pollock painting in there. All right, let's see. So Vigilante Force after that. So again, they have the aftermath of the orgy and everything, which I'm sure the people on the internet love. Like, oh great, more orgy. I love how pleasant he was, and I love that Peacemaker did take the time to learn like Zora, the girl's name. You know, remember he knows these people. These are friends that he called up for the orgy.
Yeah. Right.
Anyway, so I joked to Rohit and he was horrified with this. I said, because I hope that old man, the neighbor from the first season, I hope he's okay. I hope the actor's okay because he was funny. I was thinking, oh, he's probably there somewhere. We didn't see him. Anyway, so okay. So point being, meanwhile, they dispose of the body in kind of a musically set sequence, and of course we have like the neighbor who never says hi to Peacemaker. Just like goes off.
I love that runner, and considering that he's in the intro, you got to think they're building to something with this creature character.
Well, remember, maybe not, because the people are in the intro. It's like literally anyone who's in the show was in the introduction. Like, essentially, as much as the main cast as they can get is in that opening. So even if they have a bit part,
that's true. We'll see.
You know, like Jamil the janitor was in there. You know, he had like 2 scenes.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah.
So the old guy we were talking about, he also had 2 scenes. They had 2 scenes. This guy, he had 2 scenes. He makes the intro. That's the rule.
There we go.
If he has at least 2 scenes, he's in there. Okay, hardcore. We have tell about the abuse scene in the little mini mart.
I mean, it's I think it's a good character development for hardcore, kind of going through this stuff. I do think that, it's kind of realistic to have someone approach her about the black eye.
Yep. I love that she's trying to be patient and is appreciative of the concern, but again, it's a very, very thin line for her. It's like, look, I'm not your effing mirror, okay? Stop reflecting, it's kind of like fundamentally what she uses to deflect everyone's concern for, like Peacemaker later on. It's like, I'm not you, okay? Essentially, she sees people putting their views and their problems onto her, and just, she resents that. The Beaker gag was very funny. James
oh my god, the fucking Beaker gag. Oh, honestly, out of both of the first 2 episodes, that might be the hardest laugh I got. I especially love the little banter where the guy's like, is that bad? Well, it's not good.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the real star of this show.
Yes.
Let's talk about Agent Fleury.
Oh my god.
Let's talk about the wonderful Tim Meadows.
And you got to think that a lot of this is improvised, especially considering the little post-credits bit that we get.
Okay, so Tiki, on that Insider podcast thing, they actually revealed that it is not as improvised as you may think.
Really?
So James Gunn, he has like the whole God mic set up, like on the set. So he's in Video Village somewhere, and he'll often, like in the moment, he'll improvise. James Gunn, who was the writer, he will improvise. Therefore, it's kind of like Kevin Smith joking with Affleck, where if he rewrites something, if he pitches you something, it's a rewrite, not improv.
Okay.
And James Gunn essentially is like, he'll come up with an idea, he'll be laughing over the microphone, like he'll try this, tell him this. So often, now to be fair, there is some improvisation, but it's really not as much as you think. It's usually James Gunn coming up with an idea.
I mean, like I said, I was just going based off that post credits gag.
No, you're right. That's the thing. It's hard to tell the post credits. A lot of times the post credits, but at the end, that could be James Gunn feeding him a line.
It could just be a deleted bit.
Yeah, it could be a deleted bit. Could be, but most likely that's probably what it was. Just given like we just kind of basically cut that bit, which often you got to remember most of those scenes on the post credits. I want to say all of them, maybe. They're pretty much the non-extended version of the joke. Like we extend it and we just let it run, and sometimes it can be improvised. Sometimes it like Tim Meadows is a very skilled comedian from SNL, so presumably that might actually be an improv, but we don't know.
I think the beauty of this character is just that, like, during any given line, it's literally, like, impossible to tell how much of what he's saying is bullshit, how much of it is, like, intimidation, and how much of it is just him just playing it straight, It's, like, it's such a fun, like, hard-to-read character.
Yep, and again, so much more better utilized than he was in Star Wars.
Well, yeah, no doubt.
So the bird blindness joke, I mean, that feels like a James Gunn joke. That feels like
Oh my god.
it feels like a Drax gag, you know.
It does feel like a Drax gag, you're right.
It's just the hilarious.
I could just see Star-Lord being perplexed by it. Like, what do you mean you don't know? You can't tell birds apart.
See, that looks like Caitlin Olsen. I can't tell.
Oh god. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. That'd be a really, really fun deep cut if they could get Caitlin Olsen in for a cameo, dude.
So we have all these hilarious conversations between Fleury and Economos, like the whole Ginger Cool thing, which is just this weird runner that just keeps getting funnier as it comes back. And again, now here's what honestly, the Ginger Cool's a funny line, but also I think it drives home a big thing with Fleury that I think some people are sleeping on. I want you to tell me if you think I'm crazy with this, okay?
Okay.
Fleury feels like a representation of Peacemaker from season one, like the gruff, stupid, kind of like all very macho agent guy. You know, he's very much like he's giving, it's the whole like Chris has moved past the dye beard thing. You know, he's calling like a kind of goat and like he's much more positive with the nicknames and everything now.
Uh-huh.
Where he's calling him something that is tantamount to dye beard. He's calling him Ginger Cool in reference to the beard.
Sure.
So I don't know, just feel, and overall, we hit on the whole macho thing. Is like calling vigilante.
No, definitely the masculinity for sure. But the funny thing is that like, for as much bullshit as Peacemaker spewed in season one, like let's face it, John Cena, very macho guy. This guy, outwardly not so much, but I love how he just carries himself in that way.
That's the thing. It's hilarious. You see Tim Meadows. You do not think that. I love that we're playing into Tim Meadows. Right. Tim Meadows plays Pleasant so well, and his delivery is always pitch perfect. Again, a lot of people love him. I always love him in the Goldbergs. Oh, he's so pitch perfect on the Goldbergs.
Mm-hmm.
But they played into his comedy and uses his strength, but we've added this whole like the macho thing, kind of as an antithesis physically to Peacemaker. So. But again, he's a very non-PC. He's very non-PC, but hilarious. The whole like this isn't Berkeley, which kind of sums him up. So he's very pleasant despite all the insults.
One of my favorite beats with him is like he gives the whole task force like the ridiculous nicknames, but like it's not like he's disparaging about it because like during the Eagley attack, he's like, "Titties, watch out!"
Like he does care about his
team. He just decides those nicknames for the practical reason of being able to distinguish them.
Yeah, because he's just bad at name. I would love to read his file. He's got bird blindness. He's got all these character defects. Can't remember long names. Anyway, so also we have the gag with him and Bordeaux. Agent Bordeaux is going to become important. She's kind of a, I'm trying to. Here's what it is. She actually, Bordeaux was a Batman and Mr. Terrific character, so she is again probably will have some connection to Mr. Terrific. Would be my guess.
Nice.
Anyways, Agent Bordeaux here. She's a running point on Economos here, and we have the gag of like says he'll be there with bells on. Wait, did he say with bells on? I was like, okay, I may have embellished it. Hey, Agent, stop embellishing! Don't embellish like that. All right, let's see. So again, they don't trust Economos at the behest of Rick Flag Sr., so they're keeping eyes on him. So Fleury's really running point on all of that. And he's very much making no bones about it. He's not being very subtle about it. Was staring daggers at him and everything. But Economist does not pick up on subtlety all that well.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have the whole gift debate too, which is the most Curb Your Enthusiasm scene in the whole episode. The whole thing
that is absolutely Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yes.
We should wait. Like, what do you mean wait? Like, no, he's probably gonna might bring like a housewarming gift. Well, it's only if somebody is moving into a house. We know this is not a housewarming thing.
No, if I'm going to somebody's house, I'm going to bring a gift.
Yep. Now, to Fleury's point, okay. Everyone was bringing something to this party. Now, he could have genuinely forgotten something and been back. So I think he was actually right to wait. I think Peacemaker would have come back for something, but I think he just, he's been distracted with everything that's been going on lately.
Right.
All right. So the 11th Street kids have a reunion, basically a welcome home party for John Economos, who is basically he's in the neighborhood, he's back. So they've kind of they have like the group text and everything. So it was kind of their way of I don't know if John Economos has may put this together to get him out of there or not. I don't know how much of a setup it might have been, but might just be coincidental. They have this thing regularly, so now they have a reason with Economos, so he's invited. They hang out on the Hardcourt's rooftop, and we have the beer toss joke with vigilantes throwing the.
Which, by the way, that is very much lifted from The Social Network, if you remember that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
see. It
see.
happens twice in The Social Network, just like it happens twice here.
God. So Autobio, she suggests that Economos has mentioned that he's miserable at the job, because obviously with the whole betrayal Peacemaker thing going on. So she drunkenly suggests, like, look, why don't you quit like I am?
Mm-hmm.
Economos is basically, he's had crippling anxiety ever since he was a kid that kind of prevents him from doing so, and she gives him an adorable hug. It's really nice. All right, Peacemaker and Hardcourt during this. They have a conversation where
I
he's
think
offering...
the reeling her in thing is fucking adorable.
It is so cool. Yeah. So he offers her some support. Like kind of basically sussing out that you're going into these bars deliberately to pick fights without like. But he's being really finessing it really well here. He's not being judgy or anything. He's just he's trying to gently say if you need someone, I'm here. And she just absolutely bumps up against it again. It's so interesting that he is being very understanding, very so the antithesis of what he was in season 1 here. He's very evolved here. And she's just saying you just want yourself. You want someone as effed up as you, which it's not entirely untrue. By the same token, I don't think that's what's happening here.
I'm gonna give a little bit of a hot take, probably. Like I like Harcourt as a character.
Yep.
I honestly don't care that much about the actual relationship, especially like for me, the cliffhanger of the episode kind of falls flat a little bit because it's like it's an alternate version of Harcourt for one, and I don't know. It's just like I'm just not that invested in like okay, like something happened to break up the alternate Harcourt and Peacemaker. Like I'm just not that invested in that side of things. I don't know. Am I crazy?
I mean, I think we're rooting for things to work out with Peacemaker and Hardcourt, but I mean, I don't know. A lot has happened that we haven't seen with them, so I think maybe that's the disconnect.
I feel like it's kind of like on the same track as Star-Lord and Gamora, where they're certainly like a good pairing. There's some chemistry there. It's just never going to be like the thing I'm most invested in.
Well, again, I don't think it's supposed to be like the thing, but it's like a thing.
Yeah, but like I said, I was a little bit annoyed that it was the thing with the cliffhanger.
Well, again, I think it's more of like I think it's more of a plot thing. We're giving him a reason to kind of stick around, and he's like working at it on the phone and trying to get to the bottom of things. So he's staying in the universe, which of course is going to put things at risk.
Because as you said, this episode's kind of like a little bit of a transition. I'm guessing that going forward, especially like episode 3, it very much looks like it's mostly going to take place in this other dimension.
Yeah, I want to say at least episode 3 is probably going to be from the look. So I tried to avoid looking at it, but like the next episode thing looked a lot like it was primarily him still in, him making the unsafe choice, to quote Barry, and staying in that alternate universe, at least for a bit. So, let's see. Okay, so Flurry and the strike team, we have the big scene of the episode here. Well, they try to infiltrate Peacemaker's house to look for the QUC using like some piece of technology as they kind of sneak around, and Eagley is defending the home. And it's beyond awesome to see an Eagle brutally and awesomely take down all these guys. And again, Flurry's bird blindness makes him just this crippling weakness in the scene where I can't tell how big it is. Yep. Oh, by the way, one of the guys, the one who bumps up against all the nicknames, that's Leapfrog from She-Hulk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, from the one good episode, the one great episode of She-Hulk. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I don't really have much to add about the Eagley thing. I think it speaks for itself. It's very much like a classic James Gunn, like, elevated action sequence.
Well, here's the thing I love most about it. Honestly, it's right after it. Basically, with our title image here, I still think it's like the coolest thing ever. Where after Eagley does this, he does like this awesome looking action movie saunter, but it's an eagle doing this saunter. And then right as he does this, we play like the big awesome needle drop of the episode, which is that Dirty Money song, which is fantastic. Love it.
Oh yeah.
All right, so aftermath of the party, Peacemaker is drunk. We see this. I love like the warm Eagley greeting here, where he's like, oh, "Come here, buddy," and Peacemaker, he kind of goes a little rough with it. He's like giving the eagle a noogie, which is like, okay, the eagle does not like to be noogied.
Mm-hmm.
And tries texting Harcourt, but she's on the other Earth, so to get cell reception, he's got to go. He's got to go through. Which again, every time I'm on the edge of my seat because every time he does that, it's not going to be good for him.
Right, yeah.
So he goes there. Now here's the bit, Tiki. Here's the bigger takeaway than the Harcourt scene. Okay. He goes through the door. We overhear his father and his brother had been looking for Peacemaker.
Right. That is a good kind of plot point for sure.
And you see the guilt on him. The whole thing of like, oh man, I hope he's okay. And like, where is he? I think he's with that Karen. I think he's on those pills again. Like they're getting worried about him.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that's to me is like again him making the unsafe choice by sticking there trying to fix something that is broken. I mean, in many senses of the word, he's broken her heart and he's kind of broken this. So I think ultimately he's going to attempt to like take the place of the Peacemaker that he killed, and then he might again one to kind of help everybody out and figure out what the heck his next move is going to be, and then ultimately it'll probably be a decision of this place is great. Do I want to leave?
Right. Yeah.
So, then we have kind of our post-credit the Pokemon scene where he just this incredulous thing that happened in Portland, but then he kind of explains it, and the explanation is hilarious.
I mean, just how in detail Tim Meadows goes about the whole thing is just priceless.
But I love Steve Agee though. Agee just like like this the commitment to like when, where,
right.
Probing details like pretty hot. Oh yeah.
All right, and that'll about do it. Final thoughts?
Final thoughts, like I said, solid episode. It's maybe not as action heavy, but then again, you look at our episodes, we basically been building them around one action sequence so far, which again has been
I mean, you know me, I'm never going to complain about a show not being action heavy. I feel like it just that if anything, that's a selling point, a superhero show not needing to be action heavy.
Yeah. So I mean, so far so good. I've been loving season 2 so far, just in the sense of I love season 1 of Peacemaker, but again, it feels like this is a very different show. We're going deeper into Peacemaker. I'm really loving this direction. So yeah,
totally. All right. Okay, well that'll do it for us this week, folks. Thanks for tuning in, and looking forward to Michael Rooker in the next episode, hopefully. All right, have a good night, folks. See y'all later. It's not good.